welcome to episode 5 of Unapologetic, where we talk about real-life LGBT stories and more. I'm your host, Leslie, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Please hit the subscribe button. I post new videos every Monday, and I do some giveaways as well. I am pleased to have my guest today, Suzanne. How are you doing today?
Just fine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Would you like to tell a little bit about what you currently do?
Yes. Living in the Vancouver metro area, I'm just an office rat working full time.
Awesome.
Originally from the States, now I live here.
Nice. When did you move here?
September of 2017.
Oh wow. How are you liking it so far?
I'm cold.
Sorry, where in the States did you live?
Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But I hope it's not as bad as you thought in terms of weather. But you'll get.
It's okay.
Summer's coming soon, so you'll be able to do much more in a few weeks, hopefully.
As long as I wrap myself in saran wrap, then I can attract enough UV light to be okay.
You're fitting in already. Just saying that. Awesome.
Trying my best.
No, awesome. That's our lives every single day, honestly. So can I get a little bit of backstory of what you identify as and coming out to the world and how you were treated when you did?
Yes. Okay. So I identify as a cisgendered female and also bi, fluid, or pan, however you want to describe that. I think there's some overlap there, so you can use any one of those three different terms. I discovered this when I was, I think, the summer before I turned 12 years old, so fairly young. So I'm 28, going on 29, so this was the early thousands, like the first few years of the 21st century. And I was a cheerleader, and I really liked cheerleading with certain people, so that's certain things just started coming together. I was in a really small white suburb at the time, actually in Massachusetts, and it was a bit on the more conservative side, so sorry for the background noise.
No worries.
That was a bit of a challenge. It was a little bit isolating at first, and then when I started to reach out to a broader community when I lived in Tucson. I moved there when I was 18 years old, going to university there, and I started to find that broader community in my early 20s, so I'd say 20 or 21 years old, and that's when I started to feel more supported. I had a few friends.
Nice. Oh, it's good to hear that you. I like hearing people say, "Oh, I learned it at a young age," and it shows a lot of people that people actually learned it much sooner than others. It's possible, right?
Well, I think it's completely normal. I think that's a very reasonable age to discover that about yourself, because it's when most straight people start developing crushes. It's completely normal because it's puberty.
Right.
So I think it would only make sense that I would discover it right around then.
Or at least be a little bit more sure, right? Like for me, same thing. I noticed it very young. Like I was even like younger than 12. But as you know, we're so like we're so young, right? We're a kid, but like you said, like at 12, a lot of people we go through puberty and stuff, and like I'm still this, I still feel that. So you kind of at 12 years old, we kind of listen to our feelings a little bit more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's when we develop those first crushes and maybe even little romances. You have like, you go out with somebody for a week, you date somebody for a week, and you might have your first kiss around that age. So I think that's a normal age to discover that about yourself.
Oh, cool. No, great to hear.
I wouldn't say it's too young.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure. So what's the difference between the support you had back then? Did you have any, or how is the support you have at this point?
So at the time in middle school, I felt pretty isolated because I didn't have that bigger community, because I was kind of the only one who was really saying this. I was bravely identifying as this in a small conservative white suburb of Massachusetts, of Springfield, Massachusetts, I should say. And then when I discovered this and reached out to my community, when I reached out to my community when I was about 20, I had a nice little following, but it was kind of difficult to reach out beyond the club scene, because I think at around 2021 most people are just interested in like hooking up, and it was kind of overwhelming because I felt that it was less about politics and less about finding the community and more about just hooking up. And as I got older, I think into my mid and late 20s, I was able to sort of weave this identity into like a broader fabric of who I was. And then I could get more interested, I think, in politics, because I think by this age, people start settling down into more serious relationships. People start getting married. So they're less concerned about hooking up and more interested in discussing the pressing topics, the political issues, which I find better.
No, for sure, for sure. I think I don't think I've ever really used Tinder much. I think I've opened it and like what you said, when at like 21, and at that point everyone's more interested in hooking up and stuff. I remember I like opened up. I think it was also her. Have you heard of any of those? Like, have you used any of those apps?
Yes, I have, for friends though, and I'm always looking for friends. And I even say that on the profile preferences, but unfortunately, most people just, you give them an inch and they kind of take 5 miles, and then they're like, okay, so when are we hooking up? And I'm like, whoa, hold the phone. I would like to have like my own little queer community, to have like a group of girl friends, but very few people take those ads, like those profiles, seriously, and they have a hard time believing that like I'm married, I'm booed up, and I just want friends. So it's even still, I think at 29 it's a bit of a challenge too.
Oh yeah, like that's why I kind of gave up. Like I gave it a shot. Like I remember like I gave it, but that was like a while ago. And I asked a few people what's like using it, and like today, and then like it's the same. You know, there's just so many. You're gonna waste your time. I'm like, yeah, it just kind of gives you like my standards of like the single society, like people who are single on Tinder and stuff, are like, okay, you know, like that brings me down, so I'm not gonna touch that again. I'm just gonna, you know, be patient and wait, you know, meet people, you know. At least I did meet I think I met like 2 friends on her, like they're here and there, but like that's about it. So I'm like, okay, now I'd rather meet these people along the way.
Everybody tells you to look online, to choose the apps, to try Meetup, try her, try this and that. But truly, the best luck I've had is just finding people. You have to be brave when you're in conversation. Like if you overhear somebody talking about their identity and you're pretty sure that you share that identity, say in a coffee shop or a bar or some such sort of gathering, a political gathering, you need to be brave enough to actually talk to someone. Even in 2019, you have to say, hi, this is my name, and I want to hang out and be friends. And I've had the best luck with meeting people in person. I think it's much better that way.
Oh no, yeah, makes sense. I appreciate the advice. I sometimes lack on that as well. I'm like, I'll have to get out there if I actually want to meet people. I'm so like, a lot of us are so used to just meeting these people at work and stuff like that, but I should probably get out there more. We'll do it in this.
I highly recommend it, because then you can actually meet people and you can feel their vibe right away, because you can say witty things all you want, have the witty banter in your little online chats and things, but at the end of the day, if you're not feeling somebody in person, it's never going to work out. So you have to meet somebody that you like at first glance, in person, in the flesh.
Cool. Do you recommend raves?
Recommend raves? If that's your sort of thing,
no, not
if you're
anymore.
Gonna roll, if you're gonna experiment with party drugs, I highly recommend having a friend who's sober to be there and kind of look out for you, and drink plenty of water, and make sure that whatever you're getting is from a reputable dealer. Probably shouldn't be suggesting that.
Be safe, but... yeah. No, I'm not saying, because a lot of people meet that way, and I have been to a few. I haven't done it since my late years in high school, but yeah, like a lot of people, you know, you can meet people, but no, it's just some people love it, right? So like, I wanted to get your opinion. Like, what do you think if people meet that way?
I think perhaps, but you should be aware that at most raves, people aren't there to read the Bible all night. It can be pretty decadent. It can be a pretty sexual scene. So I'm sure if you're looking for more platonic relationships, you might be better off as in like a less decadent atmosphere.
No, especially like people who are like a little bit more introverted. Like I used raves as more like, okay, I'm gonna be more open to everyone, but you know what, like it's not really me. So if it's not you, don't do it. If you're like super party and you haven't tried raves, give it a try at least, and yeah,
it could, and who's to say you have to do drugs if you want to go raving? You can absolutely enjoy a rave completely sober.
Should be doing.
You can have all of your faculties about yourself and wear a pink wig and a tutu and dance until 4 a.m. Absolutely.
A lot of people love it. It's popular in Vancouver, so yeah.
Why not?
Give it
I've yet to go to a rave here.
Sorry?
I haven't been to a rave here in Vancouver yet.
I recommend maybe Faded because it's like
Faded.
there's more. Faded in the park is outdoors, so you get to enjoy the sunlight, and yeah, it's just better than being in like the stadium and like you're all like so crowded and you can't breathe. So I feel like there is like you
Oh,
can.
wow.
It's easier to like avoid people if you want to. Like if you there's people you don't like, then there's so
You
much
can kind
to
of
look
hide.
at. Yeah.
I
But
see.
anyways, that was a great talk of the rave. Yeah, like so my other question for you was how does this part of yourself how does the LGBT community kind of brought you in, and how does it like define you? I don't know if like that first part makes sense, but
Oh,
anyway.
I think it's great. I have found a few people here in the Vancouver metro area,
Hmm.
mostly though amongst newcomers, like newer immigrants, because even though I'm from the United States, I still am technically a newcomer, and I've kind of struggled to find friends. I have found that the social scene here in Vancouver can be a bit cliquish, and I've had definitely better luck with finding people from all over the world than people who were simply born in the Lower Mainland or in Vancouver. And I have found those people, and they're really great. They're around my age, they're late 20s, early 30s, and we just sort of see that LGBT identity as one part of us. It's not the main thing. I
Hmm.
think when you're first discovering this about yourself, it kind of takes it becomes the focus of your life and your identity, and that's perfectly fine. It can take a year or two or three, and then as you get a little bit older and you've had a few years of experience with it, it just sort of becomes one thing. But even though it is just one part of your personality, it's still important to have people who identify similarly, who can share experiences with you. And I think it's made us more empathetic, and I definitely sympathize more with political causes like the rights of ethnic and racial minorities and religious minorities, because by being LGBT, that makes me also a minority. And so I feel I'm able to identify more with people who struggle, and I think that's really great.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. I like the community here. And speaking that have you traveled anywhere else, like between the States and here?
Yes. So I've been all over the States, and I've also been to many countries, even countries where homosexuality is persecuted in different Asian countries, like countries in Southeast Asia. And it's really interesting to see that there is a community everywhere you go. Of course, those communities are a bit more secretive,
Hmm.
but they always exist, and you're a part of that community all over the world. So I think that's a really beautiful thing, that even if we don't share a country or a language, we still share that identity, and we can be friendly with each other, and we can take that identity with us all over this planet, which is really cool.
That is awesome. Really good to hear from someone who's traveled the world and you can see it for yourself. Like how is the community here, like for LGBT and any other things too, like music and film, things like that. Oh, that's
Yeah, definitely.
amazingly said. Is there anything else you want to add into it? Anything you want to finish it off?
It's a wonderful thing. Embrace it. I think it is easier generally for cis women to identify this way than cis men. I can only talk about my experience as a cis woman. I think generally it is easier for us to be a part of the community. Um, but I think no matter whether you where you are, if your parents accept it or not accept it, it's important for you to find your tribe, find people who identify similarly, so you can share. Because guaranteed, no matter who you are or where you're coming from, you're going to have some shared experiences. So yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. It was amazing conclusion. I'm just
Thanks, Leslie.
thank you. Don't hang up the phone. I'm just gonna
Okay.
stop the recording here. I want to get your
Okay.
feedback, but yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on episode 6. I'm so bad at keeping track. See you guys.